Welcome to the It's Never Too Late show. I'm Monica Topetti, your guest host, and today we are turning the tables on Suzanne Oshima, life and love transformational coach with your next amazing story. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Monica. Thanks so much for turning the tables on me. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, and I can't wait to talk about today's topic, how to date over 50. But before we dive in, can you tell the audience a little bit about who you serve and why?
Sure, I help single women transform midlife into their best life and find love again in their next chapter because I truly want women in midlife to realize that it's never too late. It's never too late to find love again.
I love that. I love that. And I was just reading an article the other day, and it was talking about singles and demographics. And according to the article, 1 in 3 women ages 50 to 64 are single. So that's a lot of women that are dating in our age group. But for, some women that might be newly single, they either recently got divorced or, ended a long-term relationship. They haven't dated in quite a while, and the dating world has really, really changed. So what do you suggest to somebody who's just trying to get back out there again and is now dating again at age 50 or over?
I would say the first thing is to go in with an open mind and an optimistic mindset. Like,
Okay.
look at this as something exciting, not looking at it as, oh God, I have to do this. Look at it as like, this is a great opportunity for me to meet some new men, whether it turns into a relationship or not. I'm going to meet some new people. I'm going to have fun doing it, and it's going to be amazing.
I love that. I love the idea of the approach of breaking it down and just, I'm going to meet new people. That takes so much pressure off, because the first thing I think of is, I thought I checked this box. I thought I did this. Now I've got to do this again. It's like, sigh, versus like an opportunity to like meet new people. Maybe you'll find love. Maybe you'll find a new tennis partner, who knows? But like, just kind of taking the pressure off and approaching this with a fresh mindset.
Yeah, and it is important to take the pressure off of yourself, right? And just to look at it as, like, my business coach always says this, and I always use this because I love this, is he always says, your journey is your journey. Wherever you're at and wherever you want to go is your journey. As long as you're not staying stuck, and as long as you're taking steps towards what you want and enjoying the journey along the way, then that's what's important. Don't just look at, oh, I need to get to the end result, because you're going to miss all the fun in between on your journey.
Yeah, I love that. I love, talking about being intentional and enjoying the process of where you're at, because I think we're so focused on, I don't want to date. I just want to find my person and be there already. And you're missing so much along the way. So how can you help a woman who's focused so much on the outcome really get into the present and focus on what she needs to focus on to enjoy the journey?
Well, a part of enjoying the journey, right, is first, I would say, is to work on the inner foundational piece, right? Which is what I always say is building up your self-confidence and your self-esteem and knowing your self-worth. Because if you don't have that inner foundational piece, what I always compare it to is like if you were to buy a new house, right? And it looked beautiful on the outside, right? But the foundation was this unstable foundation. At some point, the house is going to come crumbling down. And so if you haven't dated in a long time, like I always say, work on the inner foundational piece first, right?
Right.
And then put yourself out there because you're going to go through some stuff. Not going to lie, it's going to be an up and down roller coaster ride. And you want to be prepared for the downs because all too often I've seen where women hit the downs, right? And then they just want to give up. But if you have, greater confidence and you have high self-esteem and you know your self-worth is when you hit the downs, you'll be like, oh, okay, well, I just get to keep going. You won't give up as easily.
Right. Right. I know for a lot of women, gosh, the dating world, it's changed a lot in the last 20, 30 years. Now we have dating apps. A lot of us, there were no dating apps when we, first started dating. A lot of us could maybe, meet people in our workplace. As we record this today, we're starting to, come out of the weeds of COVID, but a lot of companies are still, working from home. I think it was like when COVID first started, I have a friend whose adult daughter works for Disney, and Disney made the bold statement, we're not even returning to our workplace until 2022. So that was a 2-year commitment to working at home. Some of us even have, social anxiety, just, getting out and seeing other people and not being in, our yoga outfit for the day. So in terms of the changes and things that have happened, where should a woman really start so she's not feeling so overwhelmed by how maybe different the dating world has become?
I would say is to take it slow, first of all, right? Especially like you brought up, sometimes some of the people are feeling a little bit of social anxiety because of where we're coming out of. And that's normal. So take it slow. But what I would say is because if you're having social anxiety, maybe meeting someone organically isn't the best thing for you. Maybe it's doing online dating because it's so much easier to do that from home, right? And you get to find out more about the person just by looking at their profile that you wouldn't necessarily find out if you met someone organically. So again, if you're easing back into it, don't try to be superwoman and go out on 10 dates in a month. Let's take it slow so that you start to ease back into it, you feel more comfortable, and it just becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah. So baby step wise, we're talking about kind of taking it slow, maybe trying an app and seeing if that's your speed. Of course, there's always in-person dating as we get out of COVID. But what about a woman's mindset? Where does she even begin to put her mind in the right space? And especially in terms of like her beliefs and what she's believed about dating in the past, or where she would be in her love life at age, 50.
Yeah, so it's important. This is that inner foundational work. So it's not just about the self-confidence and self-esteem and knowing your self-worth. This is also your belief system about yourself, right? What do you believe about yourself? If you believe you're too old, if you believe it's too late for you, then you're when you're putting yourself out there and dating, that's the underlying program that's running underneath it all, right? And so you're already sabotaging yourself before you even get started. So it's important to do a check-in with yourself. What are my beliefs, thoughts, habits, and emotions about dating, right? And about myself, right?
Can you say that again?
Your beliefs, thoughts, habits, and emotions about dating, but also about yourself, right? Okay. Because if anyone follows John Assaraf, he talks about this all the time. If any part of your beliefs, thoughts, habits, and emotions is negative, whether it's about yourself or about what you want to achieve, then you're setting yourself up for failure, right? And
Wow.
so you want to shift into the positive. And I know sometimes it's not easy to do, but you really want to start shifting into the positive, because if I'm sharing with you that it's actually been scientifically proven that if you have a negative mindset, that you're setting yourself up for failure, wouldn't you want to start working on shifting that before you even put yourself out there? Because you would be
Absolutely.
doing a lot of the work and then you keep going, why is it not working? Why is it not working?
I love this idea of creative power because, a lot of people talk about creative power in terms of their financial success or building a business or, acquiring things, that they really want. But to be able to take this idea of creative power, that our thoughts really do control our actions, which control what happens to us in our love lives, is so empowering. And it really was not, at least in popular culture, a concept that I don't think many of us as 20-year-olds were familiar with on the dating landscape, and how our actions and attitudes actually create the type of men that become attracted to us or that manifest in our lives, and the kind of relationships that we're able to grow.
Yeah, it's so true. And, it's really important. You brought up something and it popped into my mind. You talked about energy, you mentioned energy. And I don't know about you, Monica, but I'm very intuitive. I'm very much an empath, and I pick up on people's energy really quickly. And I can tell the minute I start talking to someone if they're in the wrong mind space to really find love again, because I can already feel the negative energy in that they don't believe that it's going to happen to them, or they're angry that men their age just want to date younger women. Now, are there men that want to date younger women? Of course there are. Those
Hmm.
aren't the men for you. Stop
Right.
focusing on them. We don't care about them. But are there men that are your age that want to date women their age? Yes, there are. So let's focus on the right things, the positive things versus the negative things.
Yes. Yes. Is there, for a woman that's listening to this now and she's 50 or older and she's thinking about getting back out there, is there a positive affirmation or mantra that you give to your clients to anytime they're starting to feel a little bit fearful or go down that negative route, to kind of refocus or recenter them?
I don't have a specific affirmation, but this is what I will say is, and I call it going down the rabbit hole, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And what I find is when I'm circling myself, right, the rabbit hole of doom and gloom, right? And you always feel it when you're circling it because you're like
Sure.
going, oh my God, I'm going down that rabbit hole. It's important before you go down the rabbit hole when you're circling is to come up with some sort of affirmation, right? That's positive. And it does not have to be complicated. I'm very much about simple. So I'll share an affirmation that I just used recently in my own life. Is I was circling the rabbit hole,
Hmm.
and the affirmation I used was, I'm okay. Everything's gonna be okay. And I just kept repeating that in my head, repeating that in my head. And it worked because I didn't go down the rabbit hole. And now I'm so much more grounded because I kept saying that to myself, I'm okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to work out fine. And so, everybody's different. Like I have a private client that she said her affirmation of I am enough. She said,
Hmm.
before that didn't mean anything to her. But now that she's done the inner work, it really grounds her. and it means something to her. So you have to use something that means something to you and that will ground you. For everybody, that's different. So it may take a couple of tries in coming up with different ones, but that was the first time I used that affirmation for myself.
I know I've heard you talk before about, the what if, using what if statements. And most people have a tendency to use those in a very negative way. But can you talk a little bit about using those what if statements in a positive way?
Yeah, I I'm pausing a little because it becomes a little morbid when you say, when I get to my deathbed, I don't want to look back on my life, because that's when we have our biggest regrets. I don't want to look back on my life and say, what if I did that? Oh, I wish I did that. So I always try to say, what if now, in the present moment? Like, what if I didn't do that? Like, I don't know about you, Monica, but if COVID didn't teach us anything except for to live in the moment and take advantage of here and now, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It could all be taken away from you. So take advantage of these times, because if you keep putting it off, you may not get tomorrow, quite honestly.
Right, right. And for women that are ready to take that next jump, even if it's a small little step, you actually have something really special for them. And that is a master class that's online. It's absolutely free. It's all about the secrets to meet a quality man. And I'd love for you to share with our audience a bit more about the class and what they can do to register.
Sure. So in the Secrets to Meet a Quality Man, in this masterclass, I teach you the number one way to meet a quality man. But I also teach you, if online dating is not working for you, I teach you how to turn that around, because ladies, it's not the site. I know a lot of you are telling yourselves it's the site if it's not working. Trust me, it's not the site. I tell you how to turn it around and how to start getting results and meeting quality men. So if you want to register for that, you can click right here on the video or below the video on the link below. Or if you're listening to the podcast, you can go to yournextamazingstory.com, and on the homepage is a link to register for that free masterclass.
That's amazing, Suzanne. Ladies, make sure that you do that. And in the meantime, thank you, Suzanne, and thank you to all of you for joining us on the It's Never Too Late show, available in podcast and videocast format. And you can re-listen to this episode. There's some really good tips, or access even any of our past episodes anytime at yournextamazingstory.com. Until then, bye for now.